Hi, my name is Katie, and I'm a book hoarder. Hello friends and welcome back. Once upon a time, I made a video all about the books on my TBR. I said in that video if I didn't reach the goals I set out for myself that you, my lovely viewers, could shame me. So I'm going to be playing this like a shame game, where if I don't follow through, I would like you all to shame me in the comments when I make a video about it. Well, it's been almost a year and a half and it's your time to shine in the comments. It is once again time for another TBR takedown. A refresh, if you will, because frankly, it's been a while, like a really long while. Basically, about a year and a half ago, I stole this TBR takedown idea from the lovely Jessica Williamson, and I never gave you an update. As a refresher, she merged the TBR takedown readathon with the drinking by my shelf, balancing the books concept to create her own version, and I creatively stole it from her. I'm using it obviously with permission. And essentially the reason why I was doing it was because I was graduating college and I wanted to get back into reading, and I actually did, surprisingly. But I've fallen off the bandwagon of actually telling you about my experiences with it, so here we are. A lot has changed since my last video, which I don't recommend watching because it's really quite old. The name of the game is to try to get your physical TBR down to 0. Which means theoretically I should be down to 24 books on my TBR, because I did read 51 books in between that video and now. Unfortunately, I've bought a lot of books, so my TBR has lengthened by quite a bit. I have taken a few books off of my official TBR though, so it has gone down a little bit, which is why I'm giving you more of an update now. For example, I'm not counting any of the classics that are on my shelf. Let me just move my degree here, or any of the other like random older books that are here, because I've read most of them, and if I am going to read them, I will read them because I'm in the mood for them. I'm not really putting them in my TBR as something to be read. I want to keep the TBR to things that I'm interested in reading in the current time, more modern books, whereas these will be more for like education, or if I just feel like picking up Fahrenheit 451 because I haven't read it in many years and I love that book. So sorry, you will not be getting an in-depth tour of all the books that I have on my classics shelf. And this bookshelf, which extends far above me, all the way up there. What a great filming skills, Katie. This isn't even all the books that I own that are on like my physical TBR, because there is an entire bookshelf in the other room, in the guest room, because it just physically will not fit into the space that I have in this bedroom. So I have a shit ton of books. I have books fucking everywhere. Literally so many things. So I'm just gonna focus on the books that are on my immediate TBR, the physical books that I own that I would like to get to soon. Most of the books that are on this here shelf here, since most of the books in the other room aren't read. So I'm gonna gather all of the books that are on my physical TBR and I'm going to show them to you here. Enjoy my montage. The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Night Render by Jodi Meadows. The Copper Promise by Jen Williams. The Keeper of the Night by Kylie Lee Baker. The Wicked King by Holly Black. The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Fury Born by Claire Legrand. The Never Tilting World by Rin Chapeko. Raybearer by Jordan Afueko. The Beautiful by Renee Adier. Dustborn by Erin Bowman. Fireborn by Rosera Munda. Lore by Alexandra Bracken. A Sky Beyond the Storm by Saba Tahir. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. Anti-Darken by Kirsten White. A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. The Stormcrow by Kaylin Josephson. Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. Docile by K.M. Sparza. Gearbreakers by Zoe Hannah McCurta. Jade City by Fonda Lee. Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. The Unbroken by C.L. Clark. The Chosen and the Beautiful by Ning Vo. The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Shuri. What We Devour by Lindsay Miller. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. The Dead in the Dark by Courtney Gold. Legendborn by Tracy Dion. As the Shadow Rises by Katie Rose Poole. Into the Dying Light by Katie Rose Poole. Blood Like Magic by Lizelle Sandberry. Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. Dark Rise by C.S. Pacat. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. The Particular Sadness of Lemon Cake by Amy Bender. Vampires in the Lemon Grove and Other Stories by Karen Russell. Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. The House of Shattered Wings by Alette D. Bedard. Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. God's Grave, Dark Dawn, and Empire of the Vampire, all by Jay Kristoff. Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. The Lights of Prague by Nicole Jarvis. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. Blade of Secrets by Trisha Levenseller. The Witch King by H.E. Edgman. Mistborn, The Way of Kings, and Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. Darius the Great Is Not Okay by Adib Khurram. The Golem and the Genie by Helen Wicker. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee, The Truth About Keeping Secrets by Savannah Brown, Innocent Blood, and Blood Infernal by James Rollins and Rebecca Cantrell, Uprooted, Spinning Silver, His Majesty's Dragon, Throne of Jade, and Black Powder War, all by Naomi Novak, A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, The Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman, Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World by Benjamin Allaire Sands, The Key of Arcandus by Lauren N. Sheffick, Muse by Jessie Burton, The Magicians by Lev Grossman, Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. So those are all the books that are on my physical TBR. I do have a bigger list of research books that I would like to read this year, but I'm probably going to be getting those from the library or as ebooks. Plus I have 16 pre-orders coming this year. There's a lot of books coming out this year that I want. So you may be thinking to yourself, Katie, how the hell are you keeping up with all these books? Well, do I have news for you? Turns out I'm a spreadsheet kind of bitch, and I made a new one that encompasses my entire physical TBR. If you like the look of mine, I will leave a blank one down below in the description box. I did make it on Microsoft Excel, but it shouldn't be too hard to download it and to convert it to Google Sheets if that's what you prefer. I will still be using Goodreads, but this is an easier way to keep track of all my books and to also see all of my reading across a year. Plus, I've created a pre-orders tab so I can keep track of all the books that I've pre-ordered and add them to my physical TBR as they arrive. Now on to what I think my original video really lacked, which was a clear plan for how I'm going to execute this insane reading goal. So I would like to think that I could get my TBR down to 0, but I just don't think that's going to be happening this year. As of this week, there are 40 weeks left of the year, and I do think I could probably read a book a week, which is my Goodreads goal, which is 52. So I theoretically could read 40 more books. One book for each week of the year. Is it ambitious? Maybe, but I did almost hit this last year, so not too shabby. So I have 16 pre-orders for the rest of the year, and I'd like to keep on top of those and read them as soon as I get them, as soon as they arrive at my doorstep, which leaves me with 24 books to read from the shelves and from the list that I was showing you earlier. So theoretically, I could be down to 60 books by the end of this year. Granted, I might also get books for holidays, my birthday, other things, so it might fluctuate a little bit because I'm really bad at not buying books. Just hope I don't go to Barnes & Noble anytime soon, because y'all know the damage I can do in a Barnes & Noble. But hopefully I don't fall into a reading slump, and maybe I'll be able to read more than 52 books this year. But if I have an average of, let's say, 20 pre-orders per year, then I'll have about 30 books left over from my physical TBR that I already own that I could read per year. So theoretically, I could have my physical TBR to 0 in 2 years, so 2024. Ooh, if I can keep a consistent reading schedule, which, you know, easier said than done. Of course, I could go on a tear and read 100 books and be done in a year. Who knows? I have 3 methods that I'm going to try to employ to read more this year, which is I think the key in actually getting my TBR down. The first one I've talked about before, and it has really helped me. Before I read a book, I will go in and see how many pages there are and then divide it by how many days that I want to read that book for, aka just dividing the book into manageable chunks, and then that's how far I have to read each given day in order to finish the book at a reasonable on-time schedule. If I'm in a groove, I can usually read a book within 3 to 4 days, but as of right now, since I'm kind of in a reading slump, I might break that down into 7-day chunks just to be kinder to myself. And I use post-it notes or little tabs to keep my progress. The second method is one that I started last year, and it actually really helped my reading, and it is something that I like to call reading club. I get up kind of early every single day, and I read with my dad downstairs in our living room. I've slacked off on getting up early, so the earlier I get up, the longer I get to read, so I get more pages in, but if I get up at 7, then by like 8:30, I can't read as much pages as if I got up at 6 or 6:30. I really want to get back into it because it's an easy way to read a lot in the morning, and I'm done with my reading goal before 8 a.m. But in general, having a designated reading time where I read every single day is going to be a key for actually getting my reading done. Because if it's just miscellaneous things hanging over my head, I'm much less likely to do it, and it is much more likely to get shoved to the next day because it's not a priority task for me, and I don't want to consider reading work, really, unless I'm reading something for work, which would be like beta reading, or if I'm reading a research book. And the third and final method is readathons. I read a lot in December because of Danny's Vox Machina-a-thon, and I really enjoyed it. So I want to get into more readathons and more opportunities to just have structured reading things. Maybe I'll create my own, you know. I'm kind of into creating events this year, apparently. I am going to try to be a little less ambitious when it comes to readathons. I don't want to burn out in reading, which is I think kind of what happened at the end of December, early January. I really have enjoyed the community aspect of reading and readathons, so I think they're going to be really helpful for continuing my reading journey, especially if I'm in a slump time, which I am right now. So if y'all got a readathon, definitely comment and let me know down below where I can find it. So those are the methods that I'm going to be employing to hopefully work on my TBR takedown this year. I have the goal of reading 52 books. I don't know how many books I've read currently this year. We'll see if this actually works, or if next year I'm gonna have to come back and, you know, recommit to the shame of having failed again. But, you know, I don't actually mind. I joke kind of about the shame, but I think the fact that I've read more than I have in any other year when I was in college is a testament, and I've really been reading a lot of newer books, and I feel like I'm really into the new books that are coming out, and I'm really up on the book community in that way. But at the same time, I really don't want to neglect some of the backlist that I have on my current shelves back behind me. Let me know your reading goals down below, and if you have any methods for reading more in a year, I would love to hear them. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up down below so I know you enjoy this kind of content. And if you want to see more of my rambling face, you can subscribe. I post new videos every single Thursday. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!